You stand on the ice of Europa. The cold seeps through your enviro suit. It is a deep cold, the kind that feels ancient. Before you, the structure pierces the thin, frozen sky. They call it the Clocktower. It is a shard of polished obsidian. It reflects the light of distant Jupiter. The geometry is wrong. It hurts your eyes if you stare for too long. For 3 generations, humanity has watched it. We built the outpost around it. We studied its silent, sleeping face. The Clocktower has never made a sound. It has never shown a light. It has never done anything at all. It just is. A silent giant on a lonely moon. Your mission, like your father's before you, is to watch, to wait for a sign that has never come. You run a diagnostic on the seismic sensors. Everything is quiet. Too quiet. Even the ice groans of the moon seem muffled today. A strange static tingles at the edge of your senses. It feels like the air before a lightning strike. Your partner, Chen, is back at the hab. He probably thinks you are crazy for staying out so long. Maybe you are. But something feels different. After a century of silence, today feels loud. You place a gloved hand on its surface. The material is impossibly smooth. It is not cold to the touch. It is not warm either. It feels like nothing, a void in space. You have done this 1,000 times before. It is a ritual, a foolish hope. But this time, something happens. A low hum vibrates through your glove. It travels up your arm and into your bones. The silence of Europa is about to break. The hum grows stronger. It is not a sound you hear with your ears. You feel it in your chest. The ice beneath your boots begins to crack. Thin, glowing lines of blue light race across the surface. They converge at the base of the Clocktower. The entire moon seems to be holding its breath. You stumble backward, trying to keep your footing. Your heart pounds against your ribs. Then, the chime. It is a single, perfect note. It is deeper than any sound you have ever heard. It rings with the weight of a dying star. The note expands from the Clocktower. It rips through the thin atmosphere. It washes over your small outpost. It shakes the very foundations of the moon. This is no mere noise. This is a declaration. Your comm unit crackles to life. The frantic voice of Chen screams in your ear. But you can barely hear him over the chime. Every channel is lighting up at once. Reports are flooding in from across the solar system. Mars Command hears it. The orbital stations around Earth hear it. Even the deep space probes near Neptune are picking it up. A single chime echoing among the worlds. The Clocktower itself begins to glow. A soft, internal luminescence pulses from within the dark material. The wrong angles of its design seem to shift. They writhe like a living thing. The silent giant is awake, and it is singing a song that shakes the stars. You can only stare in wonder and in terror. The age of waiting is over. Something new has begun. Back inside the hab, the world is chaos. Every screen shows the same thing. A perfect sine wave, the chime signature. Your team scrambles, their faces pale in the monitor glow. This is the moment humanity has been waiting for. The moment everyone secretly dreaded. First contact is not a polite greeting. It is a system-wide alarm bell. You are the lead cryptographer. The burden falls on you. You must decode the chime. You push past the panic. You focus on the data streaming from the Clocktower. It is more than just one note. It is a symphony of information. Harmonics are layered within harmonics. Mathematical constants are woven into the sound's decay. It is the most complex signal you have ever seen. For hours, you work. The rest of your team feeds you data. They filter out the noise. They enhance the core signal. You see patterns emerge, prime numbers, the value of pi, the golden ratio. It is a universal language, the language of existence itself. It is beautiful, and it is terrifying. Because you realize this language is telling a story, and then you see it. The final layer of the message. It is not a greeting. It is not a warning. It is a countdown. The chime repeats in a precise cycle. Each repetition is a tick of a great clock. You run the calculations. You check them 3 times. The numbers are unmistakable. The countdown does not end in years or days. It ends in less than 1 standard hour. An arrival is not just imminent, it is already here. Just as your calculations finish, it happens. The long-range observatory on Ganymede sends a single, panicked alert. Space at the edge of the solar system is behaving strangely. Not just strangely, impossibly. Reality itself is folding. It is tearing open like a sheet of paper. A wound of non-space appears against the backdrop of the stars. From that wound, they emerge. They are not ships in any sense you understand. They are colossal. Each one is the size of a small moon. They are made of jagged, crystalline rock and cold, dead light. They look like mountains ripped from a forgotten world. This is not a fleet built for travel. This is a fleet built for conquest. An ancient, unstoppable force. Their message comes a moment later. It does not travel by radio. It does not use light. It simply appears inside your mind. It is a voice made of granite and gravity. It speaks to every human at once. On Earth, on Mars, on the smallest outpost, the words are simple. They are absolute. We are the elder ones. This star system was once ours. It is now ours again. The voice offers no room for debate. It offers no treaty. You will surrender your worlds. You will surrender your technology. You will surrender your species to our service. Your compliance is expected. Your resistance is an error. The message ends. Silence returns. But the psychic weight of their presence remains. It presses down on the soul of all humanity. The Elder Ones, a name whispered only in the oldest, darkest myths, and they have returned. The response from Earth is almost immediate. The broadcast channels, once filled with panic, go silent. Then, a single voice cuts through the fear. The Secretary General of the United Nations. Her face is projected on every screen in the system. She looks tired. She looks afraid. But her voice does not tremble. To the visitors who call themselves the Elder Ones, we have heard your demand. There is a long pause. A planet holds its breath. We are humanity, she continues. This is our home. We were born of this world's soil and this star's light. We do not surrender our home. We will not surrender our future. The message is clear. It is an act of insane bravery. A tiny blue world, shouting defiance at the gods of the dark. And so, humanity prepares for its final stand. Our small fleet gathers. The sole defense force. It is the best we have ever built. A few dozen destroyers, a handful of cruisers, one aging carrier named the Indomitable. It is a joke of a name, for a joke of a fleet. Our ships are marvels of human engineering. But against the mountain-sized vessels of the enemy, they look like toys. Angry toys, sure, but toys nonetheless. From Europa, you watch the fleet formations on your screen. You see the roster of brave men and women. They are preparing to die for a hope they cannot see. You look out your viewport at the Clocktower. It stands silent once more. The chime has faded. The internal light is gone. To everyone else, its job is done. It was an alarm, a simple warning beacon. But you know it has to be more. You feel it in your gut. The sheer energy required to send that chime, to broadcast it across an entire star system. You do not build a fusion reactor just to power a doorbell. The clock tower was not warning you about the Elder Ones. It was built by an ancient enemy of theirs. It was not a warning. It was a weapon. A weapon waiting for someone to figure out how to pull the trigger. Your team is preparing for evacuation. The orders from Earth are strict. All non-essential personnel are to fall back to the inner system. But you are not leaving. You grab an emergency power pack and a multi-tool. Chen tries to stop you. He tells you that you are throwing your life away. You just nod. He is probably right. You slip out of the hab and run toward the dark structure. You are going back inside. The interior of the clock tower is different now. Before, it was a dead space. A simple, empty chamber of impossible angles. Now, the walls shimmer with faint light. You see star charts shifting across the obsidian surfaces, constellations you do not recognize. They are impossibly old. These are the skies of 1 billion years ago. You are standing inside a library of ancient star science. You walk deeper into the structure. The air hums with latent power. It makes the fillings in your teeth ache. You follow the energy signature. It leads you to a wall that was once solid. Now, a section of it glows with a soft, inviting light. A perfect circle, about the size of your hand. You hesitate for only a second. Then you press your palm against it. The wall recedes into itself. A hidden chamber is revealed. In the center of the small room, a single console rises from the floor. It is made of the same dark material. It glows with the same soft light. As you approach, text begins to form on its surface. The characters are not human. They are not any known alien language. But you can read them. They are written in the pure language of mathematics, the same language as the chime. And you see that the message is a riddle, a single question left by a race long dead, a test for whoever came after. The riddle is simple. I have no voice, yet I tell all stories. I have no body, yet I travel all worlds. I am the final breath of tyrants and the first spark of rebellion. What am I? Below the riddle, a single input field blinks patiently, waiting for an answer. As you stare at the impossible question, your comm unit buzzes. A priority alert from Sol Command. The battle has begun, but it is not a battle. It is a slaughter. The Elder Ones did not move to engage Earth's fleet. They bypassed it completely. They are striking at the soft targets first. Methodically, brutally, they are demonstrating their power. The first reports are from the colonies on Saturn's moons. Titan station, gone. A single energy reading, then silence. The orbital habitats of Rhea and Dion vanished. The comms channels are a mess of static and screams. Then, nothing. The Elder Ones are not just destroying the colonies. They are erasing them, wiping every trace of human existence from the outer worlds. You watch the tactical display. The red icons of the enemy ships move with unhurried grace. They are like sharks circling a wounded seal. The blue icons of humanity's outposts blink out. One by one by one, there is no defense. Our weapons do not even scratch their hulls. Fire rains on the outer worlds, and you are on a frozen moon, staring at a riddle. The fate of your species rests on an answer you do not have. The pressure is immense. You feel the weight of every lost life. Your mind races. What is the answer? What concept is so fundamental that a star-born race would use it as a key? You start with the obvious. You try to input the mathematical formula for gravity. The console does not respond. You try the frequency of hydrogen. Nothing. You input a sequence of prime numbers. The console remains dark. You are thinking like a human, like a scientist. You are looking for a universal constant, a law of physics. But the riddle is not about physics. The final breath of tyrants, the first spark of rebellion. These are not scientific concepts. They are ideas. They are born from struggle, from life. This was a test left by living, breathing people. They valued something more than star science. You read the riddle again. I have no voice, yet I tell all stories. It hits you like a physical blow. Of course, it is not something you can measure or weigh. It is the one thing that truly lasts, the one thing that can defeat empires and outlive stars. The answer is not a number. The answer is not an element. The answer was always human, or at least born from a mind like a human's. The answer is a story. But how do you write a story in the language of mathematics? The console does not have a keyboard. It does not understand words. It understands patterns. It understands logic. A story has a structure, a beginning, a middle, and an end. A sequence of events that creates meaning. You need to tell the console a story using only numbers. You begin to input a sequence. It is the simplest story you can think of. 1. The beginning. 2. The conflict. 3. The resolution. But that is too simple. A story has echoes. It has themes that repeat. So you create a loop, a sequence of prime numbers that builds, climaxes, and then returns to the beginning. An endless tale of struggle and rebirth, told in the only language the universe truly shares. You input the final number. For a moment, nothing happens. You think you have failed. Then, the console flashes a brilliant green. The entire clock tower lurches. A deep, grinding sound echoes from below your feet. It sounds like the moon itself is cracking open. You have answered the riddle. You have turned the key. A schematic appears on your screen. It shows the clock tower. It shows a vast conduit running deep into Europa's crust. It plunges into the hidden, subsurface ocean. The clock tower is not just a structure on the ice. It is a drill, a massive siphon, and you have just switched it on. It is drawing unimaginable power from the warm, liquid heart of the moon. Europa is no longer just a moon. It is the power source for a weapon of unthinkable scale. The power flowing into the clock tower is staggering. Your suit's sensors cannot even measure it. The number is just a string of error messages. The central spire of the structure, the part you saw from the surface, begins to rotate. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. The air around it starts to shimmer. The chime returns. But this is not the clear, single note from before. This is a discordant, terrifying chord. You look at the console's display. It shows what the clock tower is doing. It is not gathering energy to fire a beam. It is not charging a kinetic weapon. It is doing something far stranger. It is warping the fabric of space-time itself. It is weaponizing time, a concept so far beyond human understanding that you can barely comprehend the schematic. This is not a weapon that destroys things. It is a weapon that ends them. A wave of pure temporal energy builds at the tip of the spire. It is invisible, colorless. It has no radiation signature. It simply is. The console shows you the moment of discharge. With a final silent scream of power, the wave is released. It expands from Europa in all directions. It does not travel through space. It travels through time. It moves faster than light, faster than thought. Its target, the fleet of the Elder Ones. Your monitors are linked to the long-range sensors on Jupiter. You have a front-row seat to the end of a war. The temporal wave washes over the enemy armada. For a split second, nothing changes. The mountain-sized ships continue their silent, methodical destruction. Then, the effect begins. It is not an explosion. It is a process of decay, a process of aging, accelerated to an impossible degree. The jagged hulls of their ships begin to corrode. Metal that was forged in dying stars turns to rust. The crystalline structures become brittle. They flake away into dust. The cold lights that powered their engines flicker. They dim. They go out. You are watching millions of years of entropy unfold in the span of a single heartbeat. You are watching an entire civilization turn to dust and echoes. Inside those ships, the elder ones are experiencing the same fate. Their ancient bodies, which had conquered time through means unknown, are now its victims. They age. They wither. They crumble into nothing. The psychic scream of their unified consciousness rattles your mind for a second. A chorus of beings experiencing their own extinction. Then, silence. The vast armada is gone. All that remains is a slowly expanding cloud of fine, gray dust. A graveyard orbiting a gas giant. The solar system falls silent. On your screens, you see humanity's tiny fleet. Drifting, watching, stunned. They did not fire a shot. They simply witnessed a miracle. The comms channels slowly come back to life. Disbelieving voices, cries of joy, questions that no one can answer. They do not know what happened. They only know they are alive. They only know they have won. But it is not over. Amidst the cloud of dust, one red icon on your tactical display remains. One ship survived. It must have been at the very edge of the wave, shielded by its sister ships. It is their dreadnought, the command vessel. It is heavily damaged. Its energy readings are faint, but it is alive, and it is angry. Its engines flare, a final, desperate surge of power. The dreadnought ignores Earth. It ignores the human fleet. It turns. It sets a direct course for you, for Europa, for the Clocktower. Its intent is clear. A final suicidal act of vengeance. Destroy the weapon that defeated them, even if it is the last thing they ever do. The console shows its velocity. It is moving faster than anything you have ever tracked. It will be here in minutes. The Clocktower's temporal weapon is discharged. It will not be ready again in time. The console flashes a new message. Another schematic. It is a final, desperate option. An overload sequence. The Clocktower has enough residual energy for one more pulse. A short-range, focused burst. Enough to stop the dreadnought. But the feedback from such an act would be catastrophic. The temporal energies would be unstable. They would create a paradox, a bubble of chaotic space-time. To control the pulse, to prevent it from tearing the moon apart, the system requires a guide, a conscious mind to sit at the heart of the storm, to absorb the paradox, to become the anchor point. The schematic does not lie. It shows what will happen to you. Your physical body will be unmade. Your consciousness will be torn from its mortal shell. You will be integrated into the Clocktower systems, sealed away from the normal flow of time forever. You look at the approaching dreadnought on the screen. It fills the sky now, a mountain of vengeance falling from orbit. You look at the messages of celebration streaming in from Earth. They think they are safe. They have no idea what is coming. There is no choice to make. There is only the thing that must be done. You broadcast a single final message on an open channel. Your voice is calm. This is Europa Station. Tell them we won. Then, you place your hand on the console one last time. You initiate the overload sequence. Light. White, pure, and absolute. It fills your vision. It fills your mind. There is no sound. There is no pain. There is only a feeling of release, a sense of infinite expansion. You are everywhere at once. You are everything at once. Your thoughts are no longer your own. They are the calculations of an ancient machine. Your senses are no longer human. They are the sensors of a continental weapon. You see the Elder, one's dreadnought. It is frozen. It hangs in the sky, an inch from Europa's icy surface. Its weapon ports are glowing, but it cannot fire. It cannot move. It is trapped in a bubble of stopped time, a monument to its own failure. You have stopped it. You have saved them. You turn your new consciousness inward. You feel the slow, steady hum of the Clocktower's core. You feel the tidal pull of Jupiter. You feel the cold of the endless vacuum. You are the Clocktower now. You reach out your senses across the solar system. You can see the blue marble of Earth. You can hear their songs of victory. They will never know what you did. They will never know the price that was paid. You are the silent giant on Europa's ice, the riddles keeper, the wielder of time. You are humanity's eternal guardian, and your watch has just begun.